Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In today's video, we're going to do round 5 preview, or I guess round 3 for the AFL. Bit around the ground style, just nice and quick. So let's get into it. Um, as usual with our preview, do like to look at the trades and the trends there. So if we just scroll down, you can see it's very much the Nico Hines show. So most popular trade options, he's 8 or 7 of the top 10. Um, so I guess, rather than talking about each of these individual trades, because obviously there's a lot of the same parts, we might just look at the traded out and guess the other trading options. So the most traded out at the moment is Adam Dewey. Um, and I think that's fair enough. He's going to lose a bit more cash. Seems to be sort of struggling with a foot injury. The change of position maybe isn't ideal either. Um, and I know for me personally, um, as an owner, I am looking to get out of that trade. So can't disagree with that. Cam Murray, I probably can disagree with. I know I've toyed with trading him out of my NRL fantasy side to accommodate Hines. Um, but I guess as you see, I've gone a different way about that this week. So I probably wouldn't advise trading Cam Murray out. He's a player you want to keep for the season. So um, where possible, we try to avoid taking them out. But if that's your only choice, well, so be it. Sam Walker, yep, fair enough to trade him out if you're going up to Hines or yeah, a couple other potential options there. I know the trading in Pezzett, hoping he kicks in price this week, obviously, and then even just grabs a bench spot so that he increases in value the next week is a potential play. So I'm happy with that. Tanner Boyd, yeah, he's on the buy this week, so perfect time to flip if that's what you're looking to do. Um, Braden Trindle, so yeah, if you're making the spot for Hines, that's probably fine. Um, yeah, he is on the bench this week and should be good to go. Didn't play last week because of an injury, but he has got a highly negative break even, so he will make a bit of money. So, but if you want to sell, I would totally get that. Ruben Cotter, so if you were trying to hold him, yeah, I'd trade him out. Tohu Harris, so it looks like he's going to play. So maybe a few people reacting to the injury. With this trade, I would reverse it if I were you. Luke Garner out, yep, absolutely. Looks like he's slid down the pecking order there at Penrith, so that's a fair enough trade. Adam Reynolds, so the trap, for those that watch the stock market video for this week, um, yeah, get out of him, get into Nico Hines, absolutely. And Latrell, so I guess people trying to get off before he loses more cash. Again, it's a similar situation. You don't want to trade out keepers, but I guess if you're looking to make a play for Hines or things like that, it's possibly worth it. In terms of the trade-ins, so clearly the most obvious option is Nico Hines, and while he is a gun and you can trade in guns whenever you want, um, I think it's worth holding off another week. His price won't change, so you don't have to stress about that. And it gives you 2 more weeks of making money to make that trade a bit easier. So if you're like pulling apart your side to get rid of a Latrell or a Cam Murray, um, and maybe even 2 of them just to make up enough cash to bring him in, um, it could potentially not be worth it. If you have the ability to do it in a single trade, yeah, fair enough. Um, but you can also use that time to cash in on a few players. Like I guess if you use your trade boost, you could potentially have up to 9 trades to fit Nico Hines in. So cashing out cash cows that have peaked, that sort of thing, over the next couple of weeks, bringing in these guys for quick price rises even. Could be a way to get to him without sort of pulling apart your side. So obviously, I've got the luxury in my main team that I bought him in last week, but you'll see in my other teams that I've made plans to where I don't have him to not bring him in this week. With for that reason is I want to spend a couple more weeks making some more money to make it easier to transition across. The next two, Jackson Ford and Josh Schuster, I highly agree with. They're coming into my team across most formats this week, just because of their value, and the money that they'll add into the squad value. Jonah Pezzett, yeah, this is an interesting move. If you want to make it, um, yeah, I'm gonna bring him into one of the formats, and enjoy the cash rises there. Payne Haas, yep, he's a guns. You can bring him in whenever. He's gonna still make a bit more money too. So I know some people don't want to wait for him to peak. That's fine. Bring him in. Reece Walsh, so he's still got a strong break even. Um, I'd personally wouldn't bring him in, because even I think best case scenario he'd be, looking to make me some quick money, and I'd probably flip him to Hines with the right dual position trades anyway, or that sort of thing. So yeah, not my first choice, but I can see why people would do it. Zach Hosking, I'd wait a week just to see how he goes. He's obviously going to play big minutes on that edge again. His name there with Sorensen on the right edge. Um, and with Garner sort of sliding out of the team, you think he holds his spot for the medium to long term. So, if you've got absolutely nothing else to do, you could bring him in, but just give him another week and see, how much cash he's actually going to make and whether it is worth that trade in and potential trade out later. Eli Katoa, so I know a lot of people saying maybe he's not worth a trade in because of his price rises already. Um, if you see him as a pod keeper, I think absolutely bring him in. As a cash cow, you probably, the ship has sailed on that one. So just depends how you view him as to whether you get him in. Lachlan Miller, so yeah, looking a really good pod option in the centre wing spot in particular. Would like to get him in as soon as possible, but there's just so many cheapies in the centre wing making money that I just can't make any moves there at the moment. And William Warbrick, so a few people getting FOMO after maybe dropping him before his big spike in price. Um, yeah, I think it's one of those things. If you traded him out, you've got to cop that decision. You can't waste three trades taking him out, bringing him in, and then taking him back out later. He's definitely not a keeper. And there's so many other options making money at the moment that there's probably different directions to go than him. So yeah, so that's I guess the review of the trades. Quick look at the captaincy options, I suppose too, is always an interesting one. Ownership. So captains for this round. So Nico Hines is the most popular, and fair enough if you've got him. You know he's in good form, so it makes sense. Plays the second last game of the round as well. Tommy Turbo is another popular option, and you can see he's probably also, or almost, well, he's right there with Nathan Cleary for best VC option. And I guess that's sort of the way I'm thinking as well. Harry Grant's obviously, you'd expect him to bounce back after the low score last week. But just hopefully a blip on the radar. And then Nathan Cleary is obviously always a popular choice too. Um, Outside of that, Reece Walsh at 5%. That's an interesting move. Obviously playing the Tigers, which fills people with confidence. But yeah, if you could somehow VC him, that might be a safer option. Payne Haas, yeah, he's a solid captain option, I think. Ruben Garrick, yeah, Newcastle's still a little bit undermanned. So Manly could do the business there. Hopgood, a lot of people picking him as VC, obviously, first game of the round. So, hopefully he jags a big score. But, I think there's some more upside with a couple of other picks. So, perhaps if you wanted to straight C and just lock the captain in, he'd be all right. But, um, yeah, I can't foresee VC working out for most people. And then Latrell and Tedesco, yeah, it's fair enough. Pod captaincy option there. And then after that, we're all into the 1% and whatnot, so probably not worth talking about. Excuse me. So, I guess what that means for my team um, is this week I'm actually going to look at doing 3 trades. So, the first trade, um, I suppose, technically speaking, is Dewey out, bringing Schuster in. Obviously, the money side of things, it makes sense. Um, so, why not? The other one is obviously Dewey still on the bench. Um, so then I'll just scroll down a bit. I've remembered his break even by heart. Jackson Ford. So obviously, break even on 22 isn't fantastic, but after this week, the 4 that he had for the concussion game will leave his average, 3 round average, I should say, and his break even will drop through the floor. His cash will increase through the roof. Playing 80 minutes on that edge looks really good doing it. Um, so they were originally my 2 trades I was thinking of doing, but then I've got this 436k sitting in the bank, and I was looking at my team, and I'm happy with you know most of the starting 13. But obviously, there's a couple of cash cows in the centre wing. We'll cop that. They're making good money. Got solid fullback. Got 2 halfbacks, which is pretty good. So the area of weakness is quite clearly here in the 5'8" position. So what I'm thinking of doing, or what I'm going to do, is use a trade boost because we've still got 4 of them. So that's fine. And because we're looking to upgrade to a keeper, I think it's worth it. So we've sort of done like a couple of downgrades, maybe a sideways Dory to Ford in terms of cash, not in terms of output. Uh, but I'm going to get rid of Trent Liero, just probably not making the most cashable points out of the other options. Move Schuster up and bring in Dylan Brown. So on the stock market video, I've basically pointed out that he and Munster are the 2 guns in that position. There's a few pod options, but they all seem to have deficiencies. Whereas these 2 guys have done it consistently. I can't quite afford Munster, um, but I'm totally okay with bringing in Dylan Brown. His schedule through the buys is going to be a lot nicer. Parramatta don't play any of the big 3 buys, I believe. Um, Also, being a Kiwi, he's not going to play Origin, which, when you look through my team, I think is going to be a bit of an issue. Um, and yeah, so pretty happy to bring him in and sort of have another locked in keeper. So if we lock in that trade, those trades, so now you can see we've basically got, other than our centre wings, and if we sort of, I'd have Tabuai Fido and clock starters, sort of borderline keeper pod options. So cash cows. So one more centre wing. Once we're ready to cash these guys out, maybe even we can bring in a couple of those other guns in the centre wing. Um, so yeah, so happy with that. Got a fullback. Would obviously like a second one, but we're going to catch either Teddy or Latrell as they bottom out. Is the plan there? Got Dylan Brown and Katoa. I think Katoa's going to do well considering Sean O'Sullivan's missing. I think he's going to have to be the one that takes on a bit of responsibility. And because, I don't think Milford's quite there in terms of organising and getting the team around the park. So yeah, but he'll obviously become Munster down the track, which is fine. Pretty happy with the forward pack the way it is and the hooker. Obviously, we were going to want to upgrade Smith to ideally Damien Cook, but could be Reed Marnie as well. So that was another option for this week instead of the Liero trade, but I just wanted to get a decent 5'8" in there. I've already got a decent hooker. Um, so yeah, so pretty happy with the starting squad and I guess the majority of the 17. In terms of reserves and captaincy options for this week, probably will end up going with Schuster actually now that I say it out loud. So Brandon Smith will come back in off his bye. Um, Probably get rid of Alamotti, unfortunately. Fafita's got to come out, so who plays first? I think Manly do, so Schuster will come in. Ford will be the fourth reserve, so a lot of the team is staying as is. Um, and I'm going to swap them around because Hines will be the captain this week. Tommy Turbo will be my vice captain. And then the centre wings, like I said, it's these three guys I'm happy to play every week at the moment. It's just this fourth one that will sort of rotate. And just looking at the matchups, Melbourne against South could be a pretty tough one. Alamotti against the Cowboys, perhaps. But I'm going to keep the faith with Tyrell Sloan. So the Dragons playing the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins without Sean O'Sullivan. As much as I said it's going to be, Katoa steering them around, and that could be good for him. I don't know how good that's going to be for the team. So I feel like maybe the Dragons are going to get a few attacking opportunities, and hopefully Sloan can be a part of that. I guess the other option I just considered is Taruva. I forgot about him here at fullback. Against the Raiders, who haven't been fantastic. It is at Canberra, though. Ooh, okay. Do I pull the trigger? No, I'm going to go with my gut and stick with Sloan. But yeah, Taruva probably is a valid option. But yeah, don't foresee a lot of action on that Panthers left edge. Um, Although Hosking is definitely an upgrade from Luke Garner, so maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, no, I'll stick with Sloan. All right, so that's how the team's going to sit for round five. So just quickly on the others, I hit the AFL SuperCoach up real quick. So round three this week, it's the first week of price moves. So it looks like Hopper might be injured, subject to test. So subject to test too. Yep, cool. So Jack Steele does have to go. So the trade outs aren't any different from my um, round two review video. Those three out. I just had to make a decision about who was coming in. So in the end, I went with Dacos, Zeeble in the forward line, and then he should be out here somewhere. James Warple. So couldn't afford Setterfield. Chandler's job security is a little bit iffy, but I think Warple's going to do enough in terms of points and cash generation that I'm happy to have him in the side. So that's how we're shaping up for this week. Just need to quickly change some emergencies. So Wilmot, yes. Constable on the bench, and he's going to be the mid-emergency. Forward pack, or forward line, sorry, is pretty much set as is. So if Kelly's out and Hopper's out, I can play Constable and Baker. If Callahan's also out, I might need to rethink this a little bit. But yeah, obviously teams don't get named till Thursday night for the majority of games, but that's okay. Yeah, I think whichever way you slice it, I'm pretty comfortable with what I've got there. It might even be, if three are out, I can always swing Jimby up into the midfield for a week. Wilmot to start, Cowan as an emergency is fine. Yeah, so that's the AFL Super Coach. On to the other teams, NRL Fantasy. So what I've ultimately landed on is I'm going to wait on Nico Hines, spend a couple weeks making some cash. So to do that, the first one is going to be Ilias out for Pezzett, just to cash in on that quick buck. I know Ilias has a little bit of money to make, but we're trying to make as much money as we can in the next few weeks. If we burn half a dozen trades to get there, that's fine with me. After that, the second trade, just because he's not going to make money, Sean Bloor goes out, and this will actually sort of dip the the cash back a bit, but we're going to bring in Ford. Ford. There you go. So the great thing about bringing Jackson Ford in is his dual position as well in this format. So it gives us more flexibility if we do have to, bin a Cam Murray type to make the Nico Hines trade happen. I'm hoping that's not the case, but we just have to wait and see. So then I guess how the team's going to shape up this week. Probably pretty much as it's listed, I believe. Yeah, so I'm backing in Sloan over Warbrick. Excuse me. Um, Luke's the one that's out, so we just need to slide him down the slippery pole. I'll swap him with Brandon Smith, I guess, because Brandon is going to be in. And then it just comes down to that 4. So I guess because we do have Luke there, we could play the loophole game. And let's load up Dury or Katoa. Maybe we'll put Katoa there. We can always fall back on Paul Alamotti if it doesn't work out. So I think that's how it's going to work out for this week. Yeah, and then sort of in terms of getting Hines, Khan Pereira has a nice sort of negative break even. So next week, probably Chester will go out to Khan Pereira to try and get that spike in cash. Along with another trade that's yet to be determined, and then we should have this 182, plus whatever Pez it gets, might be trading him out, something like that, banking that cash. Yeah, we'll sort of play it by ear for the next couple of weeks. So sports deck. So I've got the trades here, just nice and quick. Pretty much, the same sort of thing again. Ford to Bloor, Schuster to Boyd. So I do already have Hines in this format. So him and Cleary are going to be captain and vice captain this week. Yeah, I think all that's actually written here. I didn't have to scroll down. Yeah, so that's the sports deck team. And I think the only other one was the Bulldog project. So just going with the 2 trades. Obviously, we've been burning through trade boosts. And I thought about using one again to try and make Nico Hines happen. But, I'm going to go the option of using the trades over the next couple of weeks to generate the cash. So Ford and Schuster again in, for Tyler Mariner, Kyle Flanagan out. As you can see, it means Reynolds moves into the halfback slot. Yeah, Reid Marnie is on the field as the captain this week. Who's the vice captain? Maybe I went Tom Travojevic as captain. Well, actually, I think I went Tedesco, that's right, because he substituted on the field. So I think I went Tedesco just as a pod sort of VC option. All right, but that's around the grounds for this week. If you've got any suggestions on changes that you would make or other players I might have considered, obviously there's a consistent theme throughout with Mr. Ford, but I think he is a top trade target this week. Josh Schuster's okay. The cheap price sort of makes it more okay. Yeah, feel free to comment. Like the videos if you are liking this content. Subscribe to the channel. And thanks to everyone who already has. It's much appreciated. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.